Hello and welcome to another episode of the Portrait Profit Show. I'm so glad that you're here with me today. My name is Jim Landers, and my mission is to help portrait photographers like you make a living, a great income doing what it is that they love. Each week on the Portrait Profit Show, you get tips and systems on the business side of photography designed to help you gain a mastery over marketing and sales so you can finally get what you deserve. You're in the right place. Welcome to the Portrait Profit Show. The Portrait Profit Show is brought to you by Digital Pro Lab and Landers Photography School. Now, for Digital Pro Lab, I want you to go to digitalprolab.com. These guys are fantastic. They have the people that work there are career people. They love this stuff. They like making you look like a hero to your clients. If you're not working with them already, you're going to love working with digitalprolab.com. Just go to digitalprolab.com. So the other sponsor is, well, my company, Landers Photography School, where I teach photography, private classes, group classes, and the business side of photography. Now, I do lean more to the business side and those who are working to try and make a living in photography. By the way, if you're struggling and you're not making a living in photography, why haven't you reached out to me yet? This is what I do every single day. I'm here for you. Reach out to me. It's really easy. In fact, I'll put it on the screen right now. A free consultation. You can see it on the screen right now. Just go to calendly.com/photo school/ 30 minutes, and I'll give you 30 minutes of my time. Just give it to you. Yeah, I love this stuff. Seriously, reach out. Let's get you on the right track that causes you to make an income. If you think you can't make an income in portrait photography, you are incorrect. You can, and you can make a fantastic living in portrait photography. Now, those who know that, who believe that, would you do me a favor and just say something in the comments. Say yes, or I know it, or go Jim, whatever it is you want to say in the comments right now, because you know, if you've watched this show any length of time, I encourage you to comment. Put your comments in the and questions in the comment section. But one of the first things I want you to do is let me know that you're here. So I want you to enter in #live. #live. That will let me know that you are here watching right now. #live. And I'll put that on the screen just in case I'm not speaking clearly enough for you. #live in the comments. That tells me that you're here right now, watching right now. But if you're watching this as a replay, well, enter in #replay. Mm. You guys are fantastic. You're working hard every day, trying to make the world a better place with your photography, and you're doing a good job of it. There's a lot to do, a lot of little things, but a lot to do. So I'm welcoming you right now today to the Portrait Profit Show, where we're going to unravel the complexities of copyright and protecting your creative work. We're going to dive into some actionable strategies and insider tips to safeguard your photography from authorized use and infringement, ensuring that your art stays yours and that the people who you want to use it are using it. And those who aren't, well, they stop. So thank you guys for being here. And today we're talking about, and I'll put this up on the screen, insider copyright insights. And we're talking specifically today about prevention and action. And you can see that on the screen right there. I have to find it. So, and let's see. Copyright insights, prevention and action. Let's talk about the importance of this particular topic. The ease of use or ease of with which photographs can be shared online also leads to a significant risk of copyright infringement. This concern is highlighted by the experience of one photographer in Amarillo, Texas, a photographer company named Britt Nicole Photography. And this is something that I came across in a Yahoo Finance, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with Yahoo Finance, so I'll put that on the screen real quick. An article, Yahoo Finance article, where Britt Nicole took on her infringers. She discovered a copyright infringement of her work, and Britt Nicole took on her infringers in a federal lawsuit, and she won. Now she's helping to educate fellow artists on what she did to protect her work, so you can do the same. If you want more information on that, you can enter in Britt Nicole Photography at Yahoo Finance. And let's see, I think I might have put, yeah, there we go. Britt Nicole Photography in Amarillo, Texas. Just go to Yahoo Finance and you'll see that article. Good article, and not long, a short one for those of you who like short articles. So, have you had your work used without your permission? I have. As far as how people react, I've seen creatives get upset, and I've also seen other creatives, photographers, think that it's pretty cool that someone liked their work enough to use it. So they've taken it as a compliment, and that's fine. No matter how you perceive it, using your work without your permission is no different than going to a store and stealing something that they sell. Isn't your work something you sell? Of course it is. Therefore, it's the same as stealing from any other business. The only difference is that you sell something that is considered intellectual property. Now, that's if you're selling digital files. If you're not selling digital files and you're selling prints, then it actually probably makes a lot more sense to you because it's a physical thing. But it doesn't matter whether it's physical or a digital product. So let's talk about the awareness for proactivity in photography. While the opportunities for photographers to showcase our work are online are fantastic, the digital landscape also opens the potential for our creations being used without our permission. So there's a paradox in that while platforms provide exposure, they also enable intellectual property theft. All right, not all agree, but it is my opinion that this dynamic makes it important for photographers to be well informed about their rights, as well as the available legal protections and actions. So let's talk more, just a moment more about Britt Nicole's situation and the role of education and advocacy. So Britt Nicole, the case of Britt Nicole photography illustrates the importance of education and self-advocacy in protecting your work. There is a growing need for photographers to understand copyright law. We've always needed to, but it's something that we put off. It's something that really doesn't seem like we need to spend our time with because we've got so many other things we need to spend our time with that we would feel is more important. I get it. But that's why you're watching the Portrait Prophet show, so you can fill in on some of those things that you may not spend as much time on your own, but you still know is important. All right, so there's a process for filing copyrights. There is a process for enforcing takedowns, and there's ways to monitor for infringement across all the different various platforms. So, how do you even know if your work is being used without your permission? Well, it is simpler than you might think. Besides, it's not like you have any extra time to spend at all on finding uses of your work. You're busy. You've got a lot of things going on, so it better be easy, or you really won't get around to it. And so there's two main ways to find out if your work's being used. One's reactive, the other's proactive. Reactive is you just happen to see your images in unexpected places. If you stumble upon your images on websites, ads, or social media where you didn't post them, well, clear red flag there. And then a proactive approach, reverse image searches. There's a quick and effective tool to spot if your work's been used without your permission. It's called a reverse image search. That's the name of the tool. There are multiple apps that do the reverse image search. So I'll talk about two of them, put them on the screen right now. Uh, so we're using all you have to do is upload your digital image to an easy to use tool such as Google Images. You see that one on top, and then on the bottom, 10i. And let me see. I think I have. Yes, there we go. I put it's the addresses are real short, so I've got them on the screen for you right now. But that is images.google.com or 10i. pixie.com. You see both of those on the screen right now. So do a screenshot if you want that. But both will show you how if it pops up somewhere else. Both will show you if it pops up somewhere else on the web. So there are other tools to help you keep an eye on your work, to find out if it's being used. So even the tools I just mentioned do take up some time. I move that. There we go. So you do so because they take up time, how do you keep tabs on your creations without it becoming a full-time job? All right, so that's an exaggeration, but there are some great tools out there to automate the process and others to aid in the prevention of the problem. So the first one I want to talk about is automating the process. It's called automated monitoring services. You can think of it. You can think of services like, and I'll put one on the screen, Pixie, and that is pixie.com is the address to Pixie. I'll put that on the screen on the bottom right now, pixie.com, pixsy.com. You can think of services like Pixie as your personal photograph detective. Pixie scans the web for your images and lets you know if it finds something. You set it up once and let the tool do its thing. So, yeah, simple as that. So that is pixie.com. Remove that one. And uh, I want to make sure that you have a good, clear understanding of making this work for you. Like the identity theft protection company, LifeLock. You guys familiar with LifeLock? They have uh, something they say at the end of their commercials that it's the partial is no one can prevent all identity theft. Well, that makes a lot of sense because when it comes to monitoring your photographs, your work, it's not possible to monitor everything. Let's face it, you really don't have time to monitor anything. You have enough stuff going on. Most photographers do little to nothing to monitor their images. So maybe you can just focus on your main images, the ones that you're really proud of, or the ones that are the most popular. Maybe just doing spot checks every once in a while. The goal should never be to catch every single misuse of your images, because no matter how diligent you are, and you don't have time to be diligent really at all, it's just not going to catch everything. It's about reducing the risk and increasing your peace of mind. So, with a couple of smart strategies, the right tools, and being smart with your time and resources, keeping an eye on where and how your images are used is simple and manageable. So, you guys following along so far? Is this good? Uh, if you're hearing something you haven't heard before, or if you like what it is that you're hearing, or there's a tool that I've shared with you so far that you feel like, oh, I could use that. Do me a favor, go over to the comment section and just write yes, or maybe point out the thing or things that got your attention so far today. So let's talk about immediate actions when you discover unauthorized usage. There are basically two ways to deal with unauthorized usage of your work. One where you just want them to stop using your work, and two where you may or may not want them to stop using your work, but you want them to pay for the usage of your work. So those are the two different ones. So let's address the first one that I mentioned, and that's just stopping. I just want them to stop. I don't want anything in addition to that. I just want them to stop. So the very first thing you're going to do is verify that infringement. Begin by confirming that the work is indeed yours and not just something similar. I mean, is it possible that you are on vacation, you photograph the Eiffel Tower, and there's another photograph that looks just like yours? They might have been standing in the same spot. So make sure you confirm, really confirm that this is yours and not just something similar. So you've got to confirm two main things: that it's yours, and two, that it's being used without your permission. You're also going to want to look for any alterations to your work, including if you put a watermark on your work and it's not there anymore. You want to identify everything that can indicate misuse. And then the second thing I want you to do, that was the first one. This is the second. I want you to document that infringement. Take screenshots of where your work is being displayed. Make sure these screenshots include the URL, the date, and any other relevant details that help you identify this photograph and where it is being used. And then record any other useful information, such as the context in which your work was being used. The third thing I want you to do is conduct a who is search. Who is? I want you to visit the website lookup.icann.org. And ICANN is two N's. So lookup.icann.org. This is a free search to get information about the website owner, any website owner, but specifically here where your work is being displayed. All you do is enter the website's domain name in the search bar, and you get details about the website's registration and hosting, which typically includes the name and contact information of the owner, although the owner actually can pay to get rid of that information. So it isn't always there, but it'll take you in the right direction and give you more information than you had. The next thing I want you to do is reach out to that website owner. Again, we're going over the immediate actions when you discover unauthorized usage. So you're using the contact information that you got from the who is search, reach out to the website owner or the person responsible for the content of where it is that you found your image. Politely request that they remove your work from their site. Now, I'm going to give you a template here in just a moment so that you can have an idea of what I mean by reaching out to them and communicating to them. In that communication, make sure you provide specific details about the work in question and your documentation that we've just talked about of that infringement. So let's talk about an original copyright infringement notice. This is a message. This is a notice that you send to them. I'll put that here on the screen and let's make that bigger. Full screen. There we go. So I'm off the screen a little bit. There we go. So this has the normal stuff that you'd have on a letter, your name, your address, that kind of thing, and then their information. And then you uh, you just give them something along these lines. By the way, if you want this template, reach out to me later. I'll tell you how to get it. I'm writing to you regarding a matter of copyright infringement that I believe has occurred on your website. It's come to my attention that my copyrighted work specifically, and you describe that photograph, is being displayed and or used on your website without my permission. For reference, my original work can be found, and you provide a link to where your work is found, if that's possible. I have noticed that this work appears on your site. You give them that URL where you found it, and my concern was brought to my attention, and you give them the date. I have attached or enclosed screenshots of and other relevant documentation that clearly show my work on your website. This letter serves as a formal request to immediately cease and desist all unauthorized use of my work. I kindly ask that you remove the aforementioned copyrighted material from your site promptly. Please understand that this request is made in an effort to protect my rights as the creator and copyright holder of the work in question. I hope that this matter can be resolved amicably and swift without the need for further legal action. I request a written confirmation from you, and you give them a reasonable date, acknowledging the receipt of this letter and outlining the actions that you have taken to comply with this request. If you've got any questions or need further clarification regarding this matter, please feel free to contact me at, and you give them your confirmation, your email address, some way to contact you, or your phone number. And then you thank them. Thank you for your immediate attention to this matter. Sincerely, your name. If you're sending a hard copy, sign it. So uh, that is the letter that I would send. You can do a screenshot of that so that you have it, or you can get the template. And there's other ones like this that I'm going to show you later. Other templates that you could use. I'll tell you later in the show how you can get those from me. So next is to prepare for further steps. If the website owner doesn't respond or refuses to remove the content, you may need to take further action, such as forming a formal cease and desist letter or filing a DMCA takedown notice. Have you guys heard of this? DMCA takedown notice? Let me put that on the screen so you can see the address of where that is. But DMCA stands for Digital Millennium Copyright Act. And according to the DCME website, excuse me, the DMCA, the DMCA website, the DMCA was established by the United States Congress in 1998 to address the role of online service providers and internet service providers in responding to reported copyright infringement through the use of their services. To avoid liability for any copyright infringement, ISPs and OSPs must block access or remove the infringing content upon the receipt of a DMCA notice from a copyright owner. Consult with a legal professional if you are unsure of how to proceed or if the infringement is of a significant scale. But bottom line is taking these actions immediately when you find your work on another website is going to help you assert your rights and begin the process of rectifying the unauthorized use of your work. Many instances of infringement can be resolved through direct communication. So make sure you just act promptly and you act professionally. It's usually a very quick thing. It just people don't want to use your copyright. They're afraid of the legal side of it, which they should be. There is a lot of relevant and helpful information on the Professional Photographers of America, and let's see, that's how I meant to share that. On the Professional Photographers of America website about copyright, there's a ton of stuff there. So go to ppa.com and you're going to find huge amounts of stuff there. So you're going to be going to copyright. You're going to go to copyright advocacy, copyright resources, whatever it is you're looking for. Actually go to the facts, the copyright frequently asked questions. Go there because, man, there's a ton of good information there. And this is where you go once you've noticed a problem, or go just so you're educated, so you know more. They have a great tool to help you, a step-by-step tool. And let's see, did I write that one down? No, because it's kind of long. All right. So, but they have a copyright tool where if you feel like someone else is using your work, they have this question and answer to find out, is this a real thing? Is this something you should pursue? So it just helps you focus on what it is that you're dealing with right now. So those are the steps to take to get them to stop. But what if you want them to pay for the usage of your work? And there's times when that is the appropriate thing to do, the appropriate next step. It's not that you want them to take it down. You're fine with them using it, but you don't want them stealing it either. These are images. These are things that you sell. This is your business. So therefore, you just want things to be made right. Enter the Case Act. Now, this was passed in 2020, but in June of 2022, I'll put that on the screen. Uh, the CCB Copyright Claims Board was formed. This was June of 2022. The U.S. Copyright Office opened the Copyright Claims Board, or CCB, for businesses, for small businesses specifically. Let's see. Here we go. According to the CCB website, the Copyright Claims Board is a 3-member tribunal with extensive expertise in copyright matters that provides a streamlined alternative to federal court to resolve copyright disputes involving claims of up to $30,000. Now, for those of you who are watching the show who aren't in the US, all these laws that I mentioned, US Copyright Office, all that kind of stuff, this is for US copyright. So if you're experiencing this outside of the US, then these things don't necessarily apply in your country, but still good information. And I do know that the majority of the people watching this show are from the US. So prior to the enactment of the Case Act, handling copyright infringement cases through federal courts was so costly and time consuming that most creators couldn't defend. They couldn't afford to defend their copyrights, both in time and money. The CASE Act, introduced as part of the COVID-19 relief bill and signed into law in December of 2020, aimed to provide a more affordable and efficient means for small creators to enforce their copyrights. It created a tribunal within the US Copyright Office to handle small copyright claims, offering a less expensive and streamlined process. This significant change in US copyright law intended to assist small businesses and individual creators who previously could not afford the high cost of litigation in federal courts. Now, if you want to file a claim or access a claim that you have filed, then I want you to go to, and I'll put that on the screen right now. I want you to go to ccb.gov/access-a-claim. You see that on the screen right now. So do a screenshot of that if you feel that that's important information for you. All right. Let's see. Oh, too soon to show that. Let's talk about prevention. I mean, we've talked about what happens, how to find your images, what you do if you do find your images online. But let's talk about some things that you can do for prevention purposes. So you can go to uh, the do I have this on the screen? No. All right. So if you go to copyright.gov, you can learn more about registering your work. And although your work is protected by US copyright law from the moment it's fixed or created, the US Copyright Office recommends registering it. And so you go to copyright.gov/registration. Uh, This makes a public record of your ownership as well as additional legal benefits, like the ability to bring an infringement claim for US works and to seek certain types of monetary remedies. Applying for registration with the US Copyright Office requires an application. Put that on the screen while I'm talking about it. Requires an application, a filing fee, and a copy of the work, which the office calls a deposit. Depending on whether your work has been published, where there are several different online application options. For copyright purposes, a photograph is published when copies of that photograph are distributed to the public by selling, renting, leasing, lending, or otherwise transferring copies of your images. A photograph is also published when copies of that photograph are offered to a group of people for purposes of further distribution or public display, including social media. The public display of a photograph in and of itself doesn't constitute publication, so there are some areas in there that you need to pay attention to. But to register one photograph, published or unpublished, you use a standard application. For others, for other options for unpublished work, you'd want to use a group registration. You definitely want to do this, where you have a group of unpublished photographs, and you can register up to 750 unpublished photographs and all at one time. So group registration for published photographs, uh, all by you. Obviously, it needs to be the same creator. So group registration of contributions to periodicals for photographs first published as a contribution to a periodical, such as a newspaper, magazine, or journal. You can reach out to their help team to assist in determining the best option because it isn't the same thing in that instance. So that's where you go. You go to the US Copyright Office and you can register. And depending on whether it's been published or not, there's different steps, but all that information is there. They do make it easy. There is a section that's just for photographers. So that's where you go. And when you have questions that are really extreme, extreme copyright misuse, okay, that's when you need to reach out to copyright lawyers. That's when you know. And going to the PPA website where the copyright frequently asked questions, you'll find out a lot more there in those specific instances. But we're talking about prevention, so let's talk about digital watermarks. And I'm going to tell you about one company called Digimark here in just a moment. Let's see. There we go. Using a digital watermarking tool like Digimark, and that's you can find that at digimark.com. This is we're talking about making a watermark. This embeds an invisible watermark in your work. This helps to track the use of that work. Of course, you can add watermarks with both Adobe Photoshop and Lightroom if these are part of your workflow. So that is Digimarc, and you go to digimarc.com to find more information about their services. Back on March 27th of last year, 2023, on show number 110, of the Portrait Profit Show, we did a show that's called It's Time to Set the Rules. And one of the things that I suggested you do then is to create your own copyright policy. So I want to review that real quick, because I obviously feel that's very important for us to have in our business, a copyright policy. One at least for your website, but I'd say one for your business. So I want you to define how you want to handle your images, your intellectual property. A copyright policy outlines the ownership and usage rights for the photographs that the photographer produces. It establishes clear and comprehensive guidelines for how the photographer's work may be used and protects the photographer's intellectual property rights. A copyright policy for a portrait photographer may include a handful of things. So let's go over what they may be. The first is copyright ownership. The policy should state that the photographer owns the copyright to all photographs they create. Now, if this is on your website, you'd say all photographs on this website and social media. Number two, usage rights. The policy should include an outline of the specific ways in which your photographs may be used, such as for personal use only, for marketing, for commercial, whatever is correct for you. It may also specify any limitations on usage, such as the duration of use or the geographic region in which photographs may be used. Now, if you're for portrait photographers, a lot of times you don't need to go to those kind of things, but commercial photographers absolutely do, and there's a lot of overlap with commercial and portrait photographers. That doesn't mean that's the right thing to do, I'm just saying that there is. 3, model release. By the way, are you guys getting something out of this? Are you hearing me? Let me know in the comments. I wanna hear what you have to say. Is this stuff helping? I mean, how do you make copyright exciting? I I I don't have an answer to that question. It's kind of boring, but it's also something we really need to know. And I hope you understand and feel that way as well. But let me know how you're feeling about this subject today in the comments. Is this something that you feel is valuable that you can learn from, that you can know what to do in these instances where these kind of things pop up? Because they do, they do pop up. You may not have experienced it yet, but you will during your career. You will experience your work being used in a way that you didn't want to, were unaware of, and there are steps that you need to take in order to remedy the situation in whatever way you feel is best. And when I'm right now we're talking about having a copyright policy. This is part of your policy manual as a photographer, as a business owner. You have a copyright policy. And by the way, in my classes, I do teach that because I think that's very important. In fact, I'll give you in just a little while some information about a private session that where we can actually talk more about creating your own policy for copyright or something very specific, like creating that letter that I showed you just a little while ago. I'll put that on the screen real quick. Creating one of those for you, sending you a template. So model release. If the photographs include images of identifiable individuals, the policy, your copyright policy should specify the requirements for obtaining a model release. Now, if the only person you're selling to is going to be your own client and you never sell your images to anyone else, you don't need a model release. That is your client. Now, you may think, well, I'm going to be using that for my marketing purposes on my website, on my social media, any printed materials. It's your marketing. I would say that your model release needs to just be part of your contract and nothing separate. But your specific use may make me say something totally different because everyone does photography differently, and you may do multiple different types of photography. So therefore, how you treat this may be different based on the type of photography you're doing. So a model release, though, is a legal document that grants permission to the individual's likeness. you are able to use their likeness. If you are reselling your work, if you create portraits and then you sell those portraits as art, then you definitely would need a model release. So how you handle that is based on what kind of work that you do. And some of the stuff is pretty obvious, others is not quite so obvious. So don't go this alone. Make sure that you if you create a policy that you have it checked, have it looked at, have it reviewed. And then the fourth thing I want to mention about this is attribution. The policy, the fourth thing about your policy manual is attribution. The policy should state whether attribution is required when the photographs are used, and if so, how the photographer wants to be credited. So attribution. Do you want if someone uses your work, do you want them to include your your contact information, just a copyright information? What do you want them to attribute to you at the bottom of that photograph when they use it? Number five, enforcement. The policy should outline the steps the photographer will take to enforce their copyright, such as issuing takedown notices or pursuing legal action. When is it appropriate for when are you going to pursue legal action or just document it and nothing else? It's up to you. It's based on what you feel is best for your work. No matter what you feel is the appropriate action, at least keep records because a copyright policy helps protect intellectual property rights. It ensures that your work is used only in ways that you've authorized and helps to prevent legal disputes over copyrights. We don't want to deal with this. So we have something that we've put in place already, a plan. So about let me give you a step-by-step guide to creating a copyright ownership policy. The first is understanding copyright law. I don't recommend trying to read every word of the US copyright law of 1976 and the subsequent updates and additions. It's a boring read. You might not be able to get through it. But I do recommend that you have at least some basic knowledge of it, including the scope of protection and the rights granted to copyright owners. By the way, most photographers have some misunderstandings of copyright law, like of who owns rights, like work for hire. If I am doing a project and I hire some photographers to help me with it, I own the copyright to those photographers, even though they created it or working for me to create something. Oh, let's say a wedding, and I've hired some second shooters. Then those images, I have to have the right to sell them to my client. So therefore, that's a work for hire situation. I own the copyrights. Now, I could grant those photographers some type of rights, usage rights of some sort. This needs to be in your copyright manual to let them copyright policy manual to let so that you have a consistent way of dealing with this. For instance, I granted any second shooters that I had, I granted them bragging rights. Now, this is not in you won't find this anywhere in the legal documents. This is something I made up, but I've heard other people say it too. I want them to be able to use their images for marketing. However, I don't want them to go to the bride and groom or client and try to sell their work in addition to me selling my work. I don't want that. So they don't have the right to sell the images at all to anyone, but they do have the right to use it for their own marketing tools so that they can use it on their website, to help promote their work and examples of their work to their future clients. So yeah, and again, I call that bragging rights, and I definitely describe this to them. I make sure that they know up front that this is part of the deal. They can use them. All right. And there may be some specific things that I might not want them to do, and so I would include that in any written materials, by the way. All right. Next, so the first one we just finished. So the second is registering your copyright. This is not a requirement because copyright protection automatically applies to original works. But for some photographers, registering your copyright with the U.S. Copyright Office provides additional legal benefits. This should be in your policy your copyright policy manual. What are you going to do? What is your standard operating procedure? And you probably don't have a clue what it is right now. So define what it is. Read through this. Ask me to help you out with it. This is something that is difficult to do if you don't know much about copyright. In fact, close to impossible. Totally possible, but difficult, really difficult. So you might want to engage someone's help. And then once you have written your copyright policy manual, that's when you have it looked at by a legal professional to make sure that what you have is good. Number 3, a copyright notice. Define how you want to include your copyright notice on your photographs. This isn't necessary, but it's highly recommended because you can't expect that everyone understands that all photographs are protected by copyright. Not everyone understands this. Include your name and the copyright symbol, the circle C, followed by the year of publication, the geographical information, and image information on each photograph. I made a sticker to go on the back of all my prints. I'll show you what it looks like. Put that on the screen right now. That's what mine looks like. It's got the year with the circle C right next to it, Landers Photography, San Antonio, Texas, USA. That's what mine looks like. And then it's got the job, and if it's a job number, I put a number in there. PA Smith stands for Portrait Adult, and so that's how I organize my work. Is I start off with what type of work is it? P, portrait. What type of portrait? It was just a headshot, so adult, portrait of an adult, and then that client's last name, and then the image that they used, DSC_1234.jpg. Number 4, a signed written agreement. I want you to create a form, or even better, include the notice in your contract that they sign when they start working with you, when they choose to start, when money exchanges hands. Specify who owns the copyright to your photographs. It's you, but specify it, because you can't expect everyone to know or understand, because they don't. Most photographers don't clearly understand this. Be sure to clearly outline the terms of the agreement, including whether the client will have exclusive or non-exclusive rights to the photographs that you're selling to them. Number 5, monitor usage. I don't recommend becoming a detective. You heard me say that already, but just have an eye open to monitor the usage of your photographs to ensure that they're not being used without your permission. Define how you will move forward if you discover unauthorized use of your work, from nothing to taking appropriate legal action to enforce your copyright. Creating copyright is an important step for protecting your intellectual property rights as a photographer. By understanding copyright law, creating original work, registering your copyright, including copyright notices, obtaining written agreements, and monitoring usage, you can establish clear ownership of your photographs and protect your rights as a copyright owner. Creating a clear and comprehensive usage rights policy helps to protect your intellectual property rights. Ensure your photographs are used only in ways that you've authorized, and help to prevent legal disputes over usage rights. By identifying specific usage, setting limitations, specifying attribution, determining exclusivity, obtaining written agreements, communicating the policy, getting it checked out by a legal professional, and monitoring usage, you are establishing clear guidelines for the usage of your photographs and protecting your rights as a creator. That's a lot of stuff. I know, but it's something that I help photographers out with every day. Let's let's talk about one of the things in there, specifically creating a copyright usage notice for your website. This is a short and straightforward statement that outlines the terms under which a portrait photographer's website images and content can be used. The goal is to help protect the photographer's intellectual property and to ensure that their work is used in accordance with their wishes. This is something, your copyright notice, that goes on your website. You want to make sure that this is something that you understand, that you agree with, that you've at least helped to write, but this needs to go on your website. This is the written notice. So, because it's very easy for someone to just take an image off your website. They can do a screenshot. Even if you have if your image is protected, they can still do a screenshot. All images and content on this here's one way to say this. All images and content on this website are the property of, you put your name in, and are protected by copyright laws. You may not use any images or content from this website for any commercial purpose without the express written consent of your name or your business name. You may not alter or modify any images or content from this website in any way. Please contact, you put your name in there, if you have any questions about the usage and of these images and content on this website. That is a base. That is a starting point. You're probably going to want more words for your copyright notice on your website, but there's an idea, there's a starting point. Now, let's talk about extending your copyright usage, giving usage rights to your clients. So, when you want to extend copyright usage to your client, you need to include a notice. And here is an example of one that I've used, and I need to make that bigger, don't I? All right, there we go. As with all photographic images, the copyright belongs to the photographer, professional or not, the moment the film or image sensor records the image. Therefore, this document serves to extend the usage rights for the images taken by, and you put in your business name or your name, copyright holder name. If this is uh, something that is physical, then you give a live signature. If it's not, then you just put the text here. And then you finish with your contact information. So the business owner, the copyright name, the business name, address, city, state, email. So just the normal stuff that you would expect. So that is another template. You've seen several of them on this show today, but there's another template. And I can help you create these and more templates for your business. And so that's something that I do all the time. So uh, you can reach out to me for that if you want to. And I'll show you how in just a moment. But I'm going to talk about frequently asked questions here in just a second. Let's see. Nope, that's not there. Why bother writing a copyright usage notice? Hopefully, I've made that clear, but a copyright usage notice is an important document, a statement that outlines the terms under which a portrait photographer's images and other content can be used and shared. It is important for photographers to include copyright usage notice on their websites and any contracts or agreements with clients to protect their intellectual property, their work, to ensure their work is used in accordance with their wishes and ensure that clients understand the terms of use. Now, I had a conversation with someone a few years ago now, who said that she doesn't believe in copyright, that any work that she creates is owned by everybody. And I said, well, then how are you selling it? Because she did sell her work. She did events. How do you sell your work if you don't believe in copyright? So, couldn't someone just take their cell phone and photograph what you're photographing? She's like, yeah. I said, well, then you don't make any income. She's like, well, I mean, it's just how it is. Um, I don't I don't agree with her point of view. As a photographer, I believe it's important to care about copyright because it helps you protect your intellectual property and the value of your work. Copyright law gives photographers exclusive rights to their images and other creative works, which allows them to control how their work is used and shared. So, maybe here's a few reasons why a photographer might want to protect their copyright: to prevent unauthorized use, to control the use of the work, to monetize the work, to protect the value of the work, to ensure that clients understand the terms of use of your work. Copyright is important for photographers because it helps to protect their intellectual property, control the use of their work, monitor, and protect the value. I hope you understand that. I hope it's clear. By understanding and protecting your copyright, you can ensure that your work is used and valued in the way that you intend. All right. We're coming to the end of this show, copyright infringement prevention and action. So, as we wrap up today's session, I want you to feel empowered and informed, knowing that your creative work is not just an expression of your passion and your talent, but a valuable asset that deserves protection. With the insights and tools we've discussed, I hope you're now better equipped to safeguard your photography against unauthorized use and infringement. I want you to stay vigilant. Excuse me. I want you to stay vigilant, stay informed, and never hesitate to stand up for your rights. I mentioned earlier that I'm going to show you. I'm going to suggest to you a way that I can help make all these things happen for you. Because yes, it's one of the many things that I do for photographers. So if you'd like to spend a little more time talking about the topics we discussed today, or other business subjects, I want to invite you to take advantage of my one-time $80 coaching session. This is a 45-minute session to go over the things that we talked about today or any other business topic. I'll put the address on the screen. This one's long. Sorry about that. But to schedule your private 45-minute session, just go to calendly.com/photo school forward slash and put a dash between each one of these next words, how dash to dash make dash portrait dash photography dash success ASAP. How to make portrait photography success ASAP. And when you sign up there, it's going to charge you the $80 and give you an opportunity to schedule your time with me. So, want some hands-on help in implementing the strategies we talked about today? This $80 is much lower than my regular price. This is a special offer for my Portrait Profits friends. For just $80, I'm making myself available for a private 45-minute coaching session via Zoom or phone. I only have space for about 15 sessions before my calendar fills up. So do this now. Use the address that you see on the screen right now. And yeah, you're probably going to have to type it in, but that's just that's not difficult. Besides, you're going to appreciate what it is we're going to be able to accomplish together in a short period of time. Now, the things we're talking about in this are just the surface, just the specifics for you. You still have to do the work, but I'll tell you how to do the work in this short uh, uh, process. All right, let's see. Let's talk about the upcoming shows. And as you guys know, the Portrait Profit show is every single Monday at noon, and we are. It's a different topic every single week, and it's hopefully uplifting and furthering what it is that you know and increasing your confidence. That's the goal of this show. And the next show that we're doing 1 week from today on January 22nd, let's put that up on the screen, is Start at the Beginning. Professional portrait photography, now more than ever, presents a remarkable opportunity for professional fulfillment and financial freedom. It's a field where artistic passion meets the vibrant world of business. And if you'll start your business journey at the beginning, a lot of photographers are using technology and they're starting in the middle, meaning they don't have a strong foundation. If you'll start your business journey at the beginning, just like you have to when you're on a road trip, you're going to make the steps together. We're going to create these steps that cause you to end up a success as you've defined it. So that's 1 week from today at noon. Put it on your calendar, January 27th, 29th at noon. Start at the beginning. And then 1 week after that, February 5th at noon. Yeah, February already. Focus on what's most important. Maybe you're not where you want to be because you're trying to do too much. Maybe you're watering down your effectiveness in every way possible. I've seen it a lot. I mean, most who fail to become profitable in photography, it's often because they are spread too thin. We're going to cover actionable steps to help you strategically reach your goals. And you're not going to have to give up anything in order to do it. Now, you're going to do things a little bit differently, but you're not going to have to give up any of the types of photography you like to do. You're just going to go about it differently than you have so far. February 5th at noon, focus on what's most important. And then on February 12th, this is the second Monday of the month, and we move it to 6:30 in the evening and have a panel discussion. And this one is to reach success, define what you want. We're going to have three panelists on to share their philosophies, their points of view on what they do to reach the success that they want. February 12th, 6:30, not at noon. We change it on the second Monday of every month to February to 6:30 time. So that's February 12th. All right. Each one of us has the power to elevate the art of photography, to enrich the lives of our clients, and to contribute to a community that's as dynamic and beautiful as the images that we create. I want to thank you all for your time and attention here today. Thank you for the efforts that you make every day to be such an amazing portrait photographer. I encourage you to hit that like button, hit that share button. Let me know that you enjoyed this today, that it was beneficial to you. Maybe go over to the comments section and put in a quick thanks. I appreciate this. This was good. I wouldn't have taken the time to do this myself, so I appreciate you taking the time to do this for me. Whatever it is you want to say, take a moment. Go over to the comments section. Give me some feedback. Tell me what you're thinking. Portrait Profit Show is every single Monday at noon. I hope you join me a week from today. Together, we help each other achieve our goals and make a difference in the world. So share the Portrait Profit Show. For Landers Photography School and Digital Pro Lab, this is Jim Landers bringing you the weekly Portrait Profit Show. I appreciate you. I'm glad you're here, and I look forward to watching you grow. Bye for now.